it's time for Baker Mayfield to run a 40-yard dash at the combine.
Polarizing guy, Rich. You know, opinions run really one way or the other with him.
Walk me through him. Well, I mean, the next guy too, right? But for different reasons. Mayfield and Rosen here?
Yeah, I mean, this is
4.81 for Baker Mayfield.
And that's about right. Plus or minus 4.8. I have 4.75. I thought he might get 4.75. Competitive son of a gun. People love his competition.
The Heisman, Maxwell, Davey O'Brien, Walter Camp Player of the Year awards. #1 in completion percentage in FBS this season. Heisman Trophy winner 4.88.
Now, I've seen him run the football, both planned and unplanned, and he's a better athlete than you might say 4.88 or 4.81 represents. He's a really good athlete. He's quick. He can make people miss, and he's combative as heck. I mean, he is really a competitor.
It's Josh Allen now on national stage here at the combine, the Wyoming Cowboy quarterback. .476, and you know, everybody obviously, Mike, coming in is like maybe he's Carson Wentz 2.0 here because obviously he hasn't been on a national stage. Every single measurable
is the same.
Carson Wentz ran a 4.77.
I know. He's the most electrifying athlete in this draft, and there's a lot of conversation about him in Indianapolis this week at night.
Second run. 4.76.
Baker Mayfield, the Heisman Trophy winner, going through the broad jump.
Well, 9.3, that's a good number for a quarterback there. Solid by Baker Mayfield.
Here he is with the vertical. Looks like 29 inches unofficial for him.
On an NFL gridiron was this year when Carson Wentz against Seattle was being roped up and essentially without his legs because they were being grabbed. He threw almost from his knees a dart halfway down the field as well.
Now watch the big guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 step. He got 10 yards. And Allen just rips it. I mean, he just absolutely rips it. But look how deep his drop is off that. Now he's rolling left. We saw in his XO, his video earlier, his ability to throw on the run. So every scout in the stands watch those kids warm up, and Josh Allen, man, he's just fun. He rips it. They put it, they're purposely putting the quarterback almost right behind to make a tough angle to catch the football. It's coming in over top. There's a good throw.
Oh.
Henderson. And David, we're looking at Josh Allen here, who is used to being under center. Now, again, they're just kind of warming up here, so I don't think the footwork is as active as you're going to see in a few minutes.
Right.
When
you know, guys like people compare him to Michael Vick a lot. Michael Vick would step right underneath his hips and do kind of the same thing. So guys are different, but you just want to see him improve a little bit throughout the day because he did miss some earlier throws in the spot drills, which is a little concerning because the guys are just standing there. But hopefully he can warm up a little bit, and make some good throws. Like that first throw with Josh it's just effortless, man. I mean, he gets back there. It doesn't even look like he's working hard. The ball kind of just flips out of his hand, so it's a good sign.
With Josh on his film, about every 7th or 8th or 9th throw, you go, what was that? Just his feet aren't under his body. He's disconnected, and an ugly throw comes out. But when it's all synced up, it's the best looking ball out of your hand that I've seen. He's got the biggest arm I've seen since Jamarcus Russell.
Used to defend Colin Kaepernick. They would jam the middle of the field and force Cap to try and throw it outside. And the reason he would have a tougher time because it's a longer throw, it's contested, and you have to have more timing and anticipation. Or those teams would play zone and they would make them have to throw anticipatory throws into windows. And so that's what you have to do. A lot of times with dual threat quarterbacks or guys that aren't as polished as pocket guys, you make them have to throw into tight windows. So you don't play man, you play zone, and you dare them to fit into it because you're reading as a quarterback.
The one thing that I'm scared of, though, and you say when you play that zone.
Oh, he takes off.
If he takes off, it's a wrap.
If he takes off, it's a problem.
And you have to have a spy. And so I know when you talk about Seattle, they had their corners inside. Everyone was inside the numbers, and they made it happen.
I have no doubt he can throw this ball 80, 90 yards in his pro day. Not that it matters, right? But it's so easy. Look at that compared to the last. Now, that was underthrown.
Yeah.
Let's see if he rips this one.
You're just talking about the arc, the comparison of the arc of the football.
Yeah.
Run a track.
Oof. Yeah, that's incredible. And he's taking
that went from the 10-yard line to the 30, the opposite 30.
You know, and at some point, you lose the football as a DB too. So if you can, I know when Randy Moss was with the Vikings, words
that went from the 10-yard line.
He's showing off a little bit. Back foot, plant. Josh Allen.
I see Josh did a little bit of your cheat move
exactly,
there, Mike.
I
saw that. Yeah,
yep.
Kind of 3 steps and then keeps his 4th and 5th right under his hip, so it's not too far of a drop. That was a little better. But you can see the ball. I mean, it's just on a line. It's just
that's
different
stupid.
level. Yeah, different level.
Checking boxes.
Yep.
And there are a lot of GMs and head coaches talking about that right now. And I think it also affects the teams that have secondary quarterback needs. You talked about the Patriots earlier at number 31. And who's their backup quarterback? What's their plan? Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees. We've got 4 or 5 teams with secondary quarterback needs because their quarterbacks are getting older.
So off of that, I've got a couple of questions for you. Would you then, if you have a quarterback need?
Josh Allen. Boom, plant, hitch, beautiful throw. Very similar, same size, same body type. This is a big, strong quarterback that can push the ball down the field.
Same 40-yard dash time.
I'm going to tell you another thing. At the end of the day, you really want somebody that's advocating for you in the building.
All right, here's Josh Allen.
And this is a post corner route where the receiver is stemming to the inside, trying to get the defensive back to turn and run inside, and then he's breaking it off sharply back to the outside. It's a timing throw for the quarterback. The ball would be out of his hands, and Josh is waiting because Josh has, he's got the biggest arm in the universe. He can afford to wait, but
he throws this thing like he throws a comeback. It's just 50 yards down the field. That's crazy.
Isn't it crazy? He's just waiting. He
really
just waits. He waits longer than everybody else because he can.
Here's Baker Mayfield.
St. Brown right here, Notre Dame.
Len, the last quarterback, 3-step drop, he was only taking 2 steps.
Yep.
And then throwing the ball, throwing it too hard, so he didn't go through his true technique, so the ball wasn't efficient.
David Carr is out there for us as well. David? He's on the opposite side.
Yeah, Tanner Lee's actually throwing the ball pretty good early on.
And then you get in press coverage and you say, I know how much time I have before I have to go to that slant. So I can lure my DB to sleep a little bit and then go just like you watched DeAndre Hopkins do.
Yep. Mayfield, quick feet, good throw right there. Just a nice timing throw. Well done.
This young man right here, this really kid, I mean, this kid here is special watching him on the football field. It's special. I mean, he has every gift you want. Look at that.
Quick drop and ball out early, Baker. Out. A little sauce on it, right, guys?
Yeah, he's got some juice on it.
That was a little sauce on it.
Good placement, too. I mean, I'll take the sideline over inside.
6'2", you're supposed to get that one, Mike.
Yeah. But
6'2".
But his route, and the top of that route, he was off with his feet placement, and that's why he dropped the ball. Sutton did, but I like that big body. Here's Washington.
Little guy.
Yeah. Watch him. See how he steps in. Just like that big guy that got around. When he learns control speed, he's going to be unstoppable.
That was a curl route. That was unbelievable. He was fast, but he's a little bit out of control. But exactly what you said. When he learns some control, he's going to be unbelievable.
Right. Another thing I like watching with these, when I'm watching curl routes too, I like to see if a guy can catch that paw and come down with both feet, Slate giving him either way to go when he comes out of that route. Because after I catch the ball, I want my play to start.
quarterbacks warming up while the 40s were going on. Here's Lamar Jackson, and they're just warming him up and doing some movement drills with him also. He's never been under center, so the footwork thing is new for him, but he's got a whippy arm like Michael Vick.
When you late, now you're dipping into my pocket, right? So I go from a second-round pick because you're throwing me these late passes.
Hard as you can run, and then almost after that, you're looking up and really gliding.
There's Deshaun Hamilton from
fourth row, great catch.
I can't tell you how hard that catch is right there. To be running that fast, Mike,
right.
Turn around and catch that ball, that's an incredible grab.
LaMar Jackson throwing that to Aikman.
Dropping it in right in the bucket.
As advertised, the accuracy stuff, 56% in college. Obviously well documented, but the kid can rip it. I mean, he gets out here and throws it. So, a little shaky with the first couple throws, but that's to be expected. These guys will start warming up and be just fine.
Here's LaMar.
Remember, a lot of these guys have never been under center in their lives, so the footwork is brand new to them. And David, I'm a big believer that your feet and your eyes as a quarterback have to be connected. Go ahead, David.
No, you're right, and you saw him, and you guys talked about it a little bit. Josh, when he was going through a 7-step drop, he's back at 10 yards, so he's got a big stride, and it doesn't look like he's exerting a lot of energy. So that's a really good sign if you're a quarterback coach.
And here's Lamar Jackson. Remember, never been under center. He's got a very whippy arm.
Yeah, that's arm kind of pops off at you as far as the velocity goes. Right. The ball placement is what he's going to be judged on here, but
he's not I think he's trying to be careful here. I want to see him drive it.
Right, let it go. He's his hips closed off, like he's kind of just guiding it.
Yeah, I think he's trying to be accurate here. Just open it up and rip it.
Yeah. It was all there, so you can throw as hard as you want, but unless you can drop it right where it needs to be, right inside those numbers, it's not worth much.
David, I've showed a bunch of young quarterbacks over the years. Matt Ryan throwing skinny post from under center play action with his, and then get right. And he doesn't have the biggest arm, but his skinny post
ball placement is crazy,
unbelievable. Correct?
Yep, absolutely. Matt's as good as anybody.
And that's what you're talking about right there.
LaMar Jackson, the Heisman Trophy winner in this group.
Some good throws there.
Throw, yep.
Oh man, he called you out, Kurt.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a duck right there, and there's the LaMar. Several times a game, that comes out of his hand, and you go, "Why is that? What's that?" And that's why some people around the league are saying, "Oh, he's a wide receiver." I think he's a quarterback, and I think it starts with what he does with his legs, but you can see with the drop, a lazy drop.
Yeah. Just hasn't done it a lot, you can tell. He just doesn't feel comfortable there yet. But
that looked effortless and went about 50, 60 yards in the air.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step. There you go. There's a better throw.
Good throw. No, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him.
Hey, David, I think what's forgotten in that conversation is the hire of Greg Olsen also. Everybody talks.
A great point, Mike.
Everybody talks about Gruden. He's great with quarterbacks, but on a daily basis, Greg Olsen is really good with young quarterbacks.
Well, exactly, and I also think Greg, just being around the Los Angeles Rams and what they did. And with their offensive system, I think it's going to help John a lot as far as terminology. I know, firsthand, the terminology is not going to be what. I mean, John's going to have his verbiage, but it's not going to be what it once was, where it was a paragraph to get the play called when you're in Tampa. So
evaluators take notice, and it might actually affect things in the upcoming evaluation season. You have the floor on that, sir.
Well, we talk about the quote franchise quarterback, and we talk about all the time there aren't 32 of them. There's maybe 8, 10, 12 of them, whatever that number is.
Not even half the league enough, right?
So what general managers and coaches are talking about right now around the league, because I've had this conversation with them, is okay, all of a sudden the Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles at quarterback. The Minnesota Vikings almost got to a Super Bowl with Case Keenum at quarterback. It's the same. You don't get that feeling very often, but I got it with Carson Wentz, and that's what you want with if you're taking the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft for the future of your franchise.
LaMar Jackson out there throwing at the combine. What have you been able to evaluate so far from watching him today, Mike?
Just skittish and erratic, and I don't think this is the forum for him. I think what he is think of a playground hoop game. Pick up hoops. I mean, how winners keep the court? You got 27 guys waiting to get the.
So you just, as far as like
I like the fact that this kid was such a good basketball player, Rich, in high school. He played 3 sports. So we talk about competitor, which is how we open the program. I think he is. I just wish he was throwing today, man.
4.86 for Sam Darnold.
He's a highly talented quarterback who went in the 7th round because of off-the-field issues at Ole Miss and injuries.
Sam Darnold. Of course, we send our best to Uncle Jim for our 2nd consecutive day.
1 week.
Here's Rosen, a little different kind of athlete. Great tennis player growing up. And he's the best thrower in the draft, natural thrower. When we watch him throw the ball, you're going to love the way the ball comes out of his hands. It's just so easy. All 3-step, 5-step, 7-step, it just comes out so easily.
See you down here in one of the end zones, and you were talking to the guys, and it almost looked like you were kind of thinking about it. Actually, a few years back, we saw that happen with Brandon Whedon. He said he wasn't going to throw. He stood around for about half the throws, and then he just kind of said, screw it, and started throwing. Was there ever that moment today? Did you ever come close, and were you thinking hard about it as you stood there and watched everyone go through it?
No, it never crossed my mind. No, I knew that, I hadn't made the decision, and I'm a guy that usually likes to stick with his decision, his gut feeling, so just stuck with it.
You wanted to see some movement out of him on the on-field drills. We'll see that later. What do you think of this 9.3 broad jump from him?
That's outstanding, and that's one he's going to have to answer. People are anxious to see his athletic testing, and a 31-inch vertical is solid as well.
Be quiet. Here he comes.
I think we could have probably.
That was short.
Is this
all the Bakers? A little short.
Just putting green?
The deep ones were a little short.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, that's
nice.
Beauty.
All right, that's it. All right, I'm about to turn around. How do they see it, guys?
Yeah, that was pretty.
Trey Quinn's made some real nice catches today.
And he's played with.
Oh, there you go. A little more
Go
air.
Get it.
A little more air.
Oh.
A little more air.
That was nice. That was real nice.
It is, but let me ask you.
I mean, settled right under that.
So if you go watch the tape, a lot of safeties have time to go make plays on those deep balls. And that's my question I had
right in
when I wrote him up is, does he have the arm to really rip it when he needs to over the top?
Moments ago, Josh Rosen telling Josh Allen, you're not the only Josh with a deep ball ability here. Finds Ridley in stride about 60 yards down the field.
He's a natural thrower. He really is. He's always on balance. And a couple of scouts said to me the balance might be because of the tennis. Every ball that this kid throws, it's just kind of, he's on balance. He's got a really nice feel for touch and accuracy. That's a beautiful football right there. Over the outside shoulder, that's exactly where you want it.
What do you think of this kid? What do you think of this kid, Josh Rosen?
Everything Josh does is
easy.
Yeah, it's just so fluid, and I mean, except for bouncing slants to receivers, everything just looks so good. It's just the magic of television, guys. That's how we roll.
There you go.
There we go, finally. But yeah,
that even had some topspin on it. I mean, that didn't look like his normal spiral to me.
Yeah, all the way up to this point, right when we start talking about you, Josh.
Come on, man. Get out of there with your feet.
Yeah, it's kind of slow motion. You see him? Kind of like Kurt, you were talking about, Mike?
Yeah.
A little bit. A little more air would give him a little bit more flexibility and not have to be so perfect.
That's a great throw, though.
That's a throw right there, boys. That's a throw, boys.
That was a great throw.
I mean, we expected a lot. I mean, based on everything, he's the purest, he's the cleanest.
Your pro comparison for Rosen is who, Bucky?
It's so tough. It's so tough to come up with a really good job, Trey. Comparison. I want to say Eli, but he's a better player than Eli Manning.